Okay. Ready? Yeah, I got step back with you. Good. Okay. Want to call the Long Range Facilities Planning Committee meeting to order, and we'll start with the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. I think we've got everybody from the school district side here. You guys have everybody that you were planning to have here, so, okay. Additions to the agenda, I do have one change to the agenda. I would like to add, so I'd like to switch those two, Tammy, so that we actually review the data first. So that review data would be 3.0. And then the committee member selection process would be 3.1. Okay. Does anybody else have any additions they want to make to the agenda?
We did want to talk about. Well, that, so reviewing the assessments and then the population data and then how the educational adequacy interviews will go.
So let's add under like 3.2, the educational adequacy process. And then we should be good there. Okay. All right, has everybody reviewed the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
All right, so we need a motion to approve those minutes.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting.
Second.
Right, there's a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from October 22nd. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So we will move to 3.0, which is reviewing the data from the facilities, well, all the data that you have, facilities condition assessments. And what was the other one? Oh, the population data. So.
All right. Eric's getting us out there. Thank you. It's on.
Hold on really fast. Okay, go ahead now.
Am I aiming it at you?
Let's see.
Maybe I'm going the wrong way.
Right now.
I think I'm going the wrong way. No, I got it. I'm just turned upside down. Okay. All right, so we introduced the concept of a stakeholder committee to you all last time. We had some ideas of partners that we thought should be interested, might be interested. We might make them interested in joining this process. And so we wanted to go through today and really nail down who these partners are going to be so that we can get invitations out to them and decide, get them involved early on so they know when the meetings are and how much involvement we want them to have. Ms. Nealon has a list, maybe?
You have a list. I have a list of all kinds of people in there.
I love it.
I don't want to say names during the meeting because we just want to talk about how we're going to select these people, but we could talk about community partners that we could include.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
take it away.
Well, why don't you go ahead? You've got a presentation there, so go ahead and I'll just.
Here we are.
You have anybody from the county?
So I have had somebody contact me from the county that is interested.
What about the city?
I have not had anybody from the city. So last time we did have somebody from the chamber. There's a county person. There's a city person, another city person. Another city person.
What about Parks and Rec?
So with that, Parks and Rec.
Last time, I don't see anybody on here from Parks and Rec, so we want that.
And Crew County Fire and Rescue,
There was nobody last time from fire.
and just add them, is that something?
I think it's a good one.
Police, sheriff.
Yeah, it'd be law enforcement.
We had a BLM Forest Service last time too.
We had someone that was
Former fire chief and then also.
fire service was, he used to be a fire marshal with state fire marshal. And I think that person probably would be interested again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We had COCC,
Okay.
Paul Boo. Oh.
What about the hospital?
It's on.
It's on there already? Okay.
Well, these are suggestions,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, I think all of your suggestions are good.
okay.
I don't know how we'll get someone from Meta. I definitely don't know how to get someone from Apple. Do we have a contact?
Potentially.
Yeah, that's it,
Okay,
at least it, somebody in to. Maybe ask the conversation.
yeah, I mean, inviting them to the table, I think is
Yeah,
smart.
Do you know who the key agricultural companies are here?
You know, I think we could work with FFA, has a really strong presence in the school, Dan McNary, and we could reach
Absolutely.
out to that community to get some, anyone willing, because my thought is I have lots of thoughts, but, we put it out to the community and see who we get and then look where our gaps are and then have strategic invitations, to, if we don't have the county or city.
Yeah, you're gonna wanna do targeted approach to the big companies, because they're not gonna even look at your notice, they're not gonna respond. I don't want to say that too frankly, but I mean, in all reality, they're busy, they're not. Crook County Schools probably isn't on their radar.
Hey, the reach of Crook County Facebook, I don't know if you've seen it, we're getting a lot of likes, but I agree.
Oh, underestimating you. I'm so sorry. So yes, so let's have the big picture, we sent it out there, but let's continue to work on our targeted list here today, so we know when those certain, folks and companies don't respond, that we want to send something targeted approach to them.
Are we thinking of just like out and out businesses as well? Cause I'm thinking like manufacturing, who's involved in manufacturing?
Say any of the big players in town, right? Anybody that might have an interest in recruiting students in the future. They might have an interest in where their own kids go to school in the future. Or their grandkids, right? We don't know what age demographic they are necessarily in. Or they get light that, oh my gosh, Crook County Schools is doing such amazing stuff, and then they're gonna start recruiting people to come live here. So all of that helps boost your economy as well as your school district.
One other group you might wanna, I spoke with the Crook County Republicans, and then next week I'm speaking to the Crook County Democrats. It might be good to strategically invite at least one or more representatives from there. Also, Kiwanis and Rotary might be, there's the Eagles too, would be the other.
Communities would be else.
Yeah.
And then we partnered with the Band of Brothers on a Constitution Day thing. I think we could reach out to them to say if they want to have a representative.
Local contractors. So I should actually,
Yeah. The Northwest Griffin Construction.
yeah, smack.
Definitely snap. They have a large presence, I think.
Yeah.
There's the new company coming in too from Bend or Redmond Bend, the defense contractor.
Oh, God.
That is supposed to be 69 jobs, 70 jobs. I don't know how many of the folks are gonna move over here. And I forget the name
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
We can dig into that.
Yeah. And I think they're supposed to be breaking ground this spring.
Yeah, we'll definitely wanna include them, or at least reach out on it and we'll have a communication.
This is great. Are there certain people in the school district that you want to make sure are engaged in this process?
You know, I just want everyone that's interested.
Yeah.
You know, some of our, obviously like our principals and, you know, our tech director and athletic director, that's a really good one.
Yeah, he's already
Some coaches and,
said he wanted to, our athletic director.
And I'm sure we will, but if we don't get representatives from classified and certified associations, we want to make sure to invite them specifically.
Can you think of anyone who might be a naysayer, but would be open to a kind of constructive dialogue, but you know, participate in the process? Sometimes we find that to be very useful.
no, I don't think of any strong naysayers. You know, I think it's more of, our naysayers are people that say, oh, we can't afford this, or I don't wanna see my taxes go up,
Right,
so,
yeah.
you know, anyone representing that. That we can definitely look at who we have and then think, I think your point about having naysayers is really important, because that's who we're having to convince, so. Looking at, once we get our list of, are there demographics of, you know, populations that are relying on, you know, social security and have limited
Right.
funds, and,
That's right.
and so we wanna make sure that we hear their voice of
Yes.
that, so we can definitely figure that out,
Senior center.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
And
I didn't wanna stereotype, Devin.
That's okay. All right with that.
maybe naysay is too strong, but it's more about folks who might be sensitive to,
Yeah.
you know, the cost impacts.
I think if you're including someone from like the Republican and the Democrat, you could get a healthy amount of perspective on where disagreements might be.
Yeah.
With that,
For sure.
so representing that group.
So.
Parents.
Customers, parents,
Mhm.
our customers, and our school employees. Suppliers, do you think any reason, you know, your food suppliers, is there any impact that you could think of? That would be helpful from any of the,
Leon, that'd be more your
The
world.
only food supplier that's local enough would be, like Everhart's would be our milk stuff. Everybody else is like,
I mean, Redmond, aren't they more of a?
they're Redmond, but they might be interested. We could put that figure out there and see if they'd be interested in it, but. Just to get perspective from them or whatever, but as far as local vendors, well.
even if they don't supply to you, right? But you know, who are the, besides Apple and Les Schwab and Facebook, like who
What
are
about-
the?
And this is kind of a big group of people, but like, what about all the real estate agents that we have and all the real estate companies we have in, you know, in town? There's, I mean, there's really a lot more than you think.
Yeah,
I don't know, that's they know a lot of people,
You do.
you know, so they might bring a different aspect to the table as well. Speaking of demographics, you
Yeah.
guys are gonna know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great idea.
Any need to selectively look at Powell Butte as an
Yeah,
area
it's a good-
and as a
Powell Butte
representation.
For sure.
we need to try and get some, what do you think, the community, help you community people, mostly, I would say.
Yeah, I know Hellview board member has already offered, Hellview Community Charter board members already offered to be on it, so we can. And she served on it last time as well, so.
It might not, I mean, it might benefit us to have the pillar of that community also,
DC,
yeah,
Yeah,
that we weren't using names, so.
yeah, that would be a good. Yeah,
that's my bad, yeah.
But I mean, they would be able to, they will know enough people that, you
Yeah.
know, and if we put it out to them, they could probably put it out to the parents or whatever, but there's also a very, very, very large population of retired people that live out there, that would probably want to, and that's where the pillar of the school might come in handy.
I love it,
So that's just something to think about.
agreed.
What about out in Polina?
Yeah.
I think we should probably try and reach some of those ranchers up there.
Yeah.
Too, and. Line and post area both.
Is that something that the school could help us with, like the admins out there that could really reach out and?
Yep.
Cause again, you have, I mean, a lot of retired
Yeah.
ranchers out there, so.
Well, we have a lot of kids that went to school here that are
Mhm.
working ranches out there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good voice to have.
Mhm.
We wanna think about brothers too, the ranches that are out there, the brother school ranches,
Mhm.
they're all for county, so.
Mhm.
The school and issues.
And they often,
Yeah,
they have questions about why am I getting a Cook County ballot if I live in Deschutes County?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
The lines are blurred.
yeah.
very blurred there.
And then we've got just general community or people that are just interested in being on it too, and how do we reach those people?
Facebook
The
account.
power of social media.
it's got a far stretch, not messing around. And we also have Parent Square now, so we could send something out to general families, but that is
Yeah.
mainly just families, so.
But there's all kinds of
We could
forums,
say that.
that a lot of different people are in charge of on social media. That usually take something that we posted on the school district website, and then they post it onto their social site as well, like Pringle information or. What have you,
Mhm.
so.
Right, I mean, I don't know how I got on the list, but I got a strategic planning invite from Jefferson County. And I got one from the City of Sisters. So they're like, we're doing strategic planning for X, Y, and Z. We thought you might be interested. How do you get my name? I'm like, right? I mean, that's great. Thank you for including me. I don't live in your areas, but I do work in your areas, right? So they were asking for my feedback, so I don't know. What lists? Probably I just submit projects in the city database and they're like, oh. So. The city and the county might have a way to.
Yeah.
You know, strategically target more audiences too.
Mhm. Maybe put it out in our, local publication, the
Yep,
couple that we do have.
yeah, and we've got, we send out a November district newsletter as well, so. I think getting it as far as possible,
Yeah.
I think we wanna be as
Yeah.
inclusive as possible, and then making sure we're not leaving any groups out.
It's just short of actually making flyers and sticking on business windows. I mean, I don't think we're at that point, so.
Last time we had a lot of people last time, quite honestly. And we can only get like 30 in here, so if we get more than that, we're gonna have to go.
Yeah, I
to
think
middle school library,
I think we'll have to go to the middle school library, is probably the best venue.
probably.
I hope we have to.
Yeah,
Just look at the gym.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch Eric cringe.
It's a little tougher, but.
Okay, so we have a pretty good list. And then the methodology to get an invitation out, do you need help? Formalizing what this invitation is gonna say?
you know, you can send us, we have the documents that you gave us last time, I think we can. I'm thinking almost the communication team, Anna would be a good venue to kind of talk through this and execute the next steps.
Yeah.
We have a communication team that meets every Monday morning, that's, known throughout the region for successful communication. So yeah, we can take the next steps on how to get this out to have the furthest reach.
Okay,
Good. Then, let's move into the really fun stuff. I have a packet of information. And this was the biggest sheet of paper I had. We first tried to print it on one sheet of paper and I was like, no. So we have all the different locations. That we did the facility commission assessments on. We've got the transportation center, Barnes Butte Elementary School, Crook County Middle School, High School, Pioneer High School. Even the stadium, elementary school, the Steens Pillar Complex. And Houcha Brothers, Bellevue Community or Charter School on our little map and Paulina.
Shows Paulina down
Paulina.
below, right?
Paulina, yeah, but Bellevue, I don't see Bellevue. You know?
No.
And what we do, this spreadsheet. Might have introduced it to you before, well, those of you who sat in a very dry, long meeting last round. This spreadsheet comes from Oregon Department of Education. It's pre-formatted with cost of repairs and replacements through region by region throughout the whole state. This newer version spreads this out with an escalation rate through 2030, which is really nice. So what the assessors, we had a team of assessors, we went out, Robert and I and 4 or 5 other people. Went out and looked at everything visually that we could see. As well as diving into mechanical rooms, going up on roofs, looking in attics. So it wasn't testing of systems, but it's talking to Leland staff. Even the janitorial crew, the principal, whoever was around about, oh yeah, you know, we used to have a leak here. Or we know that these lights always go out over here. So instead of actually doing a test of the electrical system, it's more of that verbal description assessment of what do we need to come back and look at in more detail. So this looks at it, we have square footages of every building and then we calculate, is this a minor addition or a minor alteration, a major. Not alteration, a minor repair, a major repair, or does it need to be replaced, or is there nothing that needs to happen? There's a little snafu with the physical spreadsheet under section G, which is the site work. Some of the facilities we're calculating correctly. We're still working with OD to make sure that those calculate correctly before we present the final report out. What we wanted to do today is just kind of go through the big picture, and I wanted you all to have a copy of this to look through. So I'm gonna give you, the big picture overview of each school. And if you're looking, you say, I have a question on Brothers Elementary School under services. I don't understand why we're saying the plumbing fixtures are moderate repair. What does that mean? Right? Go ahead and ask. And then at the end, we'll show you what's called, Robert loves this one, right? Much more than I do.
Oh,
The
yes.
facility condition index. I found a nice graphic for it.
I like it, yeah, that works really, really well.
You'll see on the slides as we go through each school. This number, this SCI number. And I can take a stab at explaining it unless you want to.
Sure, I'm happy to.
Okay, there you go for it.
Yeah, so, as we go through.
No, I'm standing.
As we went through each facility, we noted, different things that needed to be repaired or replaced. And they all get plugged in to the spreadsheet and they generate numbers, cost numbers. As that number rises, so does the FCI. If you only have a few things to repair, it'll generate generally a low percentage, anywhere between 1% or 5%. Pioneer High School is a great example. We had a very low number for that because it's practically a new building. You wouldn't really expect that much at all. And that was confirmed through our site observation. But there are some other schools that really need a lot of help. And as the list gets longer, then the percentages rise. And so really anything over 15 to 20% is something that's worthy of more attention, more focus from you and from the community. And as it rises and rises, if you get up to 75%, you're getting into almost replacement school territory.
Over what percent?
75%. I would just the caveat that I would apply though is the devil's in the details. So even though it could be quite high, it might be that some things really warrant a further look. Case example, the roof at the high school. We did plug in that number because we know it's over 30 years old. Typically, you start to look at replacing a roof that's 30 years old. But Leland and his team have done such a great job that, you know, you could probably, you know, we could park that number to the side and say, no, we're not going to really replace the roof. It's not going to be part of the calculations or the discussion going forward. We would defer to you on that. So these numbers are a little bit fluid. They're designed to be that way, but it's a good starting point for discussion, if that makes sense.
So that is.
Great, thank you. So overview, and you'll see this kind of individual chart on each of the schools. Again, keep in mind our site work numbers aren't calculating quite accurately yet. But you can see, you know, just big picture, what schools need the most help as far as cost wise, right? And which ones don't. Thank goodness the Pioneer Alternative High School doesn't need much.
Yep.
On the flip side, the high school, well, one, it's the biggest facility you own, right? So proportionally, any work, you know, if we say the flooring is getting close to being worn out, right? I can't believe it's 30 years old. 1996 doesn't seem that long ago, right? But then that's gigantic square footage compared to Pioneer Alternative High School. That's only, if I remember right, like 800 or, you know, 1,000. It's bigger than 800.
Yeah, so it's 6,000.
6,000 square feet. So proportionally, right, costs get increased. We also look at, you'll see a percentage number in here that shows, you know, the first percentage is the amount of building that has whatever in it. So if you're looking at slab on grade, the percentage of the building is 100% of the building has slab on grade. And then after we say if it's minor repair, major repair, or replacement, there's another percentage over here. We say, well, only 20% of the slab on grade actually needs to be replaced. So then the tricky calculations inside this magical spreadsheet pop out this number that says, okay, that's this amount of cost for replacement or repair, depending on which check box we mark.
And this might just be a dumb question.
No,
so I
don't apologize.
So I'm looking at Barnes View,
Mhm,
which is a pretty new school, I thought.
mhm.
Because I was thinking the high school was the name building too, but. Like just looking at section A on the substructure, the first 3 lines are replaced. Am I reading that correctly? Like replace it?
They are not, it's only replaced if you see an X mark.
Oh, okay. I
If they're,
thought we were looking at the highlight and I was like,
if
oh my
they're,
god.
yes.
Okay, thank you for
Um,
that.
ODE has a special way, and they decide that you cannot replace the substructure.
Oh,
So
okay,
they
so
block
it's
those
blacked
out, that they're not even an option for you. to
Oh,
decide.
okay, thank you for
Yeah.
that.
So for a 2-story building, would the roof affect 100% of the building or 50%?
Good question. According to ODE, it's still 100% of the building. But if you're looking at it from a more logical perspective of square footage, right? It's not a 100,000 square foot building, it's only a 50,000 square foot if it's 2-story. So there is another area in this fancy spreadsheet that says, is this a 1-story or 2-story building? So they account for
Yep.
it. It's one of those, when we had a couple cells not working, I was like, don't, anybody in this office, do not touch this spreadsheet, so. So Barnes View, like you said,
I have one other question.
yeah.
If you Go back one slide, and again, sorry, 2 slides.
Yep.
So we look at Crook County High at 29 million, and then Crook County Middle School is only 24 million. So okay, so we would say, so this doesn't say that Crook County Middle School is in better shape than Crook County High School, because no one would agree with.
No one would agree with that.
I just assumed because the high school was bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
only reason that I assumed
It's
that higher number.
just looking at the costs of repairs right now.
Okay.
Versus this isn't taking into account, which we'll talk about later. Leland and I and a number of the staff worked on all these other parts of the spreadsheet that are more the touchy-feely parts, and then we're gonna get into what we call educational adequacy. How's the learning environment? How we really get into how is the inside air quality, the learning environment, all of that. So structurally and system-wise, the cost is lower at the middle school than it is at the high school. So let's dive into it. No, it doesn't, right? Big picture, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, I don't know how, but
yeah.
I didn't see that either.
so you have a system that's not working right, but it doesn't need to be replaced.
Mhm.
The educational adequacy piece of that's gonna show you that the system's not working right, even though there could be, it could show that it doesn't need to be replaced.
Okay, so
So
that's just my concern is like, oh, we share this with staff and middle school staff are like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
this nonsense, you know, so I just wanna
Mm-hmm.
make sure we're through that.
and with the high school, you've got like the roof, for instance, that roof is probably in that cost to replace that roof.
Mhm.
And that roof's, I have no idea how much that roof is, but it's a significant cost to replace that roof. And it doesn't need to be replaced quite.
It's metal,
Yeah.
isn't it?
The standing
Yeah.
seam, yeah, standing seam.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably too dense, so we're saying the roof replacement cost is in that 29 million
Mhm.
at the high school, but it doesn't need to be replaced.
Correct, and the other thing that's related to that costing is that. If you were to replace just the standing seam metal, you also, when you put in a new one, you also have to upgrade it to meet the energy code or the building code, so you have to put in more insulation. So that's why it's such a large number right now.
But you're saying we don't need to do that.
If you leave it alone, yeah, well, Leland says
I
it's,
say it's fine right now.
Yes, good
We
enough.
got another 5 to 10 years out of that roof.
but we have to do it the way ODE wants us to do it in this spreadsheet, so we're gonna come up with that number, right? Like.
we can take it
we
out.
have to-
Yeah, this is conversation for us to have when we say, let's really dive deep into these numbers, and that's why I gave you all these spreadsheets, because.
Yeah.
Mostly Leland's gonna take these home
Yeah.
and review them and say, no, I don't agree with this. Yes,
Okay.
yes, you
But
and
Leland's
your
got a
team were
lot.
accurate.
'Cause
So
yeah,
what we
'cause-
show may look different than this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
this is like the first iteration,
okay,
and we're gonna refine it further.
awesome.
So
So
I
this
don't
is
think we
rough
need to
draft.
mess,
Yes.
Okay.
spend much time on Barnes View.
Big time.
Brothers Elementary, again, it's in pretty good shape, really good shape, I would say. It's not that old. Again, only 1998, not that old.
Can I
Can I
ask a
ask-
question?
Absolutely.
Sorry, when it says, so it looks like it's always like site work, interior services, what exactly is site work? It sounds stupid, I know, I'm sorry, but just so I
No
know.
problem, no problem. So site includes utilities. It includes, parking, paving, sidewalks, lighting. I said utilities,
Like landscaping and all that. just literally site
landscaping,
Outside,
everything outside of the building. Let's see if they get into anything other than that. I mean, utilities is the biggest portion of site work on most of these.
okay,
And when we get into the more rural ones, site work number goes up because currently right now they're all gravel. So
okay,
as far as being. I remember I said our Barnes Butte Elementary School is sort of our mark of what we're evaluating everything against. That is what ODE considers a adequate school with playgrounds, parking lots. Obviously, there's more space, you know, it's got a secure vestibule, it has mechanical systems, it has durable, clean finishes, has all the technology like we have in here, and it has decent new furniture. So that's kind of our gold star, our mark that we're comparing everything else to.
okay,
And
thank you.
equipment would include what? Computers, that type of,
Is that,
IT equipment, it can include, depending on which category, it can include all of the kitchen equipment. Can include, there's separate line items for mechanical HVAC equipment and electrical distribution equipment. So there's a lot that goes into it. Keep asking questions. These are great.
I think maybe you answered it, but so. I mean, it's kind of applicable to Brothers, but it's like at the transportation building, for instance. I mean, I think Leo and I have already looked at the cost to do a full network rewire,
Mhm.
actually putting. Like a network rack behind a locked cabinet, things like that that aren't in place. Is that this would be the opportunity, this time we're having here would be the opportunity to call something like that out.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. What the assessments don't include with these numbers are nice to have, want to have items. So that is sort of sounds like more of a need to have, right? Your technology is really behind the times of what is required to function adequately at that facility.
would you
So
got it,
that would be
and
included.
just redo?
Yeah, I mean, like that building, yes, and like Brothers is just mounted up on the wall, fully open to the
Yeah.
world, and so,
For everybody.
you know, you'd want to. Ideally, you don't want wires just coming down through the drop ceiling, Yes, there's like a standard.
Yes.
There's like a standard way that should be done, and we're behind the times a lot on that. And again, whether it actually ends up. Whether it's something that we say, okay, this is work that we know we are going to do over time, or it's something that becomes part of a larger initiative that we go after. It's needed.
So what we'd like to do is make sure that we're capturing this information, and part of this educational adequacy, it's just the term ODE uses, will be capturing some of that data too. Like when we toured the Brothers School, it's slab on grade, the gymnasium. It's a pole barn that got walls added to it, right? Well, the slab is okay. But when I was looking through it, this morning, I was like, you know what? I remember Leland saying that it would be nice to have a padded, sports floor in here. Well, then we go back and we add this into the spreadsheet and we say, this slab on grade is not adequate for students to be playing on. So then we'll add that in there.
It's literally concrete, it's literally a full.
Literally.
It's literally a pole building that. Did we even see insulation? I know they furred out the wall. Well, okay. We'll be here all day if I start doing this. This is one of your facilities. We didn't assess it this time. So the numbers are from the 2019 assessment. Just
High number.
remembering that this is one of your properties.
But with it being it's historic,
Mhm.
are we allowed to even,
It's not,
oh. I just read the
it
word.
just says that up there. It's
Okay.
not in the historic registry.
It's not listed on the National Register.
Yeah,
It's listed as a local resource.
Local historical resource.
Oops. I can take that name off. If that is preferred.
Is it preferred to leave it?
you could say Brothers Original Schoolhouse.
Okay,
And sorry, given that that one's 169% with the facility condition index, that means that. Based on that thing you said, we were talking about, earlier, that's like a
yeah,
full,
Wait till you see the stadium.
I saw it, it's a big one. But again, what does that
Yes.
number mean when it's over 75%?
it should be replaced instead of
Replaced.
repaired.
It's definitely candidate.
Yes.
The building that students are.
No, it's
No.
storage. But
Okay.
if students were in it, your FCI number is astronomical to bring it up to a level where you would have students in it in today's.
Okay.
Crooked River Elementary School, big picture items there. think most of you may know that part of the addition we added a roof on top of the existing roof, so there's concern there. Structurally, it's fine. It is functioning fine. The roofing itself is at the point where it needs to be replaced, getting close to the end of its life. You know, big picture systems, we're looking at the air handler is nearing its end of its lifespan. A lot of schools, just because of their age, we're looking at hot water distribution systems. You know, the piping needs to be replaced. The electrical system is at the end of nearing its time to be replaced too. Yes, you can have that. You will only get a copy of my notes.
Okay.
Just because I put an extra. So any questions, concerns? I mean, we're at, what's it say, 66%, so kind of on
The higher end.
on the higher end, right? But overall, it's still in pretty good condition. So, you know, when we're in that 40 to 70% range, then we really start wanting to look into the fine details and seeing, well, I don't think we're looking at replacing this school anytime soon, right? So then we come up with, well, what is a tangible maintenance plan for this facility?
Does it say somewhere in here how old the school is that we're looking at? Is that on here somewhere? Or s-
Not on that, we did, oh, you can't read it, I can't read it, but on
Is it on
these
here?
tiny little slides, this,
Oh, yeah, construction in 1960, sorry.
yep,
Yes, okay.
if you can read that, it's better than I can read, even with my glasses.
Thank you for that.
And I can say the dates out loud too, because I have them on my cheat sheets. So here we go, the Crook County Middle School. Okay, originally built in 52, has had, I don't even know how many additions. But we're at that 40% mark of the facility condition index. The big things are the metal roofing. Well, Leland may come back and say, no, the roof is just fine.
It's not.
Okay, good, he agrees. That's a big ticket item. That's almost $9 million to replace the roof because of the size of that school. There's a lot of site work. There's $2.4 million in our site work. The site work number that I told you isn't necessarily accurate yet, so. And then we're looking at under services, the mechanical system, the electrical system, the distribution systems, those are all at the end of their lifespan.
So according to this number, sorry, I have a lot of questions. On this
Ask away.
FTI, according to that number, we're not near a replace. Which is just shocking to me.
Yeah.
I think it might be shocking to all of us.
Yeah, it doesn't jive with the, I mean, we had the roof falling down on, you know, the ceiling tiles.
We had new
falling
Entire
down.
science wing is just a joke.
Yeah, there's been a waterfall.
One that we did install.
Yeah, yeah,
For decoration.
Water feature.
yes,
Yeah, water feature, yes.
a snow-induced waterfall.
It just, I guess, I really expected that number to be 70 plus,
Yeah,
easily.
yeah.
Even, I mean, even with the roof and the boilers and all the things and the science wing, I really thought that was
Yeah, anecdotally, people would say this thing's kind of.
the office itself,
Yeah,
you know, I mean, okay, anyhow, sorry.
So is it possible that we need to look up more stuff on that, or?
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
There's probably also, you had mentioned though, like, what was the thing you mentioned about, like. The usability, that
Oh, the educational
Oh,
literacy.
uh,
educational,
Yes.
I wonder if you were to take the 43% plus the whatever percentage for educational adequacy. Push those together and all of a sudden it changes it from 43 to 85. Because this one is, there's a strong belief that it's not educationally adequate. Even if this assessment says it's not as bad. Add the educational adequacy to it, the room size issues, the wing addition, the roof problems. It is not adequate for educational purposes at this time, at least that's the belief, and therefore. The adjusted
See,
FCI based on that is higher.
that would
could-
make a lot more sense.
Could be a way you think about it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the other thing too to think about too, is that, you know, some of these facilities, you know, may lack things like air conditioning. So, you know, bringing things in that are, you know, people would really want, are gonna, you know, raise that cost even further, the FCI number.
It's not really a want, and I can speak from experience being in there, on those hot summer days when your classroom is like 90 degrees and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, so already that's a need, you could say.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Something, airflow.
And if there's not air conditioning now, it doesn't get included in this spreadsheet.
Right.
So,
That's tricky, because I think you lose credibility with staff if you're like, oh no, the middle school's only 13% worse than the high school, and they'll be like, you don't know what you're talking about, you know, and I think that could really hurt
That's
the
why I'm
case.
saying, I think we need to
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
look,
yeah,
like you said, the educational part of this.
Yeah, you could figure out some way to do an adjusted. But to your point, if there's not air conditioning in there, then there's no air conditioning that's end of life, so it's not gonna be calculated in this.
Right.
So it's calculating it based on the lifespan of the existing.
the existing structure, the existing systems.
could we put that in there somehow though, to make sure, because I worry about, again, credibility of our staff are like. Stuff, kind of tune out or don't listen to you if,
Beauty is, we can make a copy of this spreadsheet,
yeah,
right? We have the existing condition spreadsheet that we submit to ODE.
Yeah.
Here, this is what our findings are. We make a copy of this. And we say, these are all the things through our educational adequacy that aren't in here, and so. Then we click replace for all of those items, AC, replace, right? Science classrooms,
Yeah.
replace. And then we have a more accurate number when we come talk to the bigger group.
The other thing to keep in mind is this is like really preliminary
Mhm.
information. I mean,
Mhm.
like when we get done with the facilities plan, it'll reflect things a lot differently than what you're seeing right now.
Okay.
Good.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
That'll be, I just worry about
The worry,
losing staff of not wanting to engage, because if they're like, you guys don't know what you're talking
Like,
about.
you guys are so way off, I
Yeah,
don't believe
Jim
anything
spent
you say.
Years in that building, it's like, there's no way we can, we just have to set the table right so that people see
Right.
that we know what we're talking about and have their interests in mind.
Right, great. You have a lot of homework.
Big proponent.
Oh, yeah, no, so this is part of the whole process, is that we will be engaging them, in their feedback. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
We're taking bits and pieces and stuff.
Mhm.
All right, high school. Well, we're not gonna replace the roof, so that's $22 million, just a mere drop in the bucket. Leland, the elevator was not assessed, so
elevator needs to be replaced. That's like. Say it's $100,000. Yeah.
Okay.
The other day, so, yeah.
Is that just some engineering stuff, or, I mean, I don't know.
I
any
replaced the
better-
car. It's,
Oh,
it's, you can't get parts for it anymore. It's one of those things. It's coming up. It's gotta be done.
oh,
It might also affect the rail system or
Maybe so, yeah.
The what system?
the rail, if it's
Oh,
you know, as it's going down, attached to rails, depending on the hydraulic system or the model. You know, if it's a full replacement, you know, you're changing more than just the cab.
Mhm.
and then if you have any insight into the fire sprinkler system, that's a real hard one
So we're
to assess.
in a major,
is that at the high school?
Mhm.
Okay.
Just gonna take a deep breath.
well, because. This is a public meeting. And I don't want any contractors, and I don't want anything that's gonna be weird about competitive bidding or anything else that could go on with that. So quite honestly, I mean, yes, something needs to happen with fire sprinkler system, but right now I just rather not talk about it.
Okay.
Openly until I get more information,
Perfect.
yeah.
You know, surprisingly, the HVAC system overall is in pretty good shape. Users may say, oh my gosh, no, right? Like my classroom is too hot, this classroom is too cold. But given the date of the equipment and the way it seemed to be functioning when we toured and assessed it, it was in decent condition. The electrical system, about $2 million estimated in repairs for electrical system to bring that up to current standards. And then a big ticket item that isn't in the assessment yet is equipment and furnishings. So looking at kitchen equipment, getting input from kitchen staff and looking at fixtures and furnishes throughout the building. You know, so part of that is our initial assessment and walkthrough. We walk through this room and we say furniture's all in good shape. You walk through a room like this that has 5 different table types and 10 different chairs, you say, that is not okay. Right, so that's just big picture of what we're looking at furniture wise. You know. You have the hodgepodge of furniture, you've got broken chairs, you've got, you know, the teacher making a desk out of X, Y, and Z, right? Like, that's not what we're looking for.
And the kitchen equipment, that would be like all equipment in there, like the ovens and the
Mhm.
dishwasher.
All the commercial equipment,
sanitary,
yep.
Walk-in freezer, that kind of.
Mhm.
all of that, okay.
And so that information we'll get when we talk with the food service department, and then the kitchen staff of each facility that has kitchens.
Will that include gymnasium, basketball hoops?
Right,
and-
equipment, yeah, athletic equipment, absolutely. I wanna keep us moving, so, Pioneer. For the freshers.
Better not need to do it.
Thank goodness, there's a little bit of concrete work out there that
This
is
is
holding up.
kind of what you saw. So.
Yeah. Helena, on the other end, you know, it's 1948, with some additions. And most of it is looking at site work, right there. This is one that I was talking, nothing is paved. So the hard thing in Oregon is once you pave, then you have to put in stormwater treatment systems. So every time you pave a square foot of land, you need to calculate how are you gonna maintain that square footage runoff on your site. Looking at the back of the building, there's no ADA access outside of the building to the playground, to the fields. Somewhat of an access to some of the modulars. The assessment process does not look at modulars. We do not consider modulars part of a school because they're supposed to be temporary. We all know.
Like a permanent.
They are permanent features once they go in, so. That is another aspect that isn't in the calculations of this spreadsheet. We have a lot of schools that have a lot of portables, majority of their living space, the majority of their. Teaching space are in portables, so that number doesn't go into this. Until we start doing this next phase.
So educational adequacy of the building is low because you don't have enough room for all of your staff.
Exactly.
Yes.
You have 2 classrooms inside this building. Well, you can't serve the population with 2 classrooms. That's why you have 3 modulars, I think, up there. Super intimidating.
There's 13 students there now though, so we could serve them 2 classes.
Uh-oh, we're stuck.
Uh,
Is that wind gust? Just,
Say again.
South.
this is the north building.
Okay. We should add that.
That is the north building. I called the other one Grizzly Mountain.
We should call it Steamsboro South.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steens Pillar North and South.
Pretty sure that's the way I have them registered with ODE. too.
Okay.
I'm looking.
So Steens Pillar North. A 1936 building. There's some concerns, right? There's no roof sheathing. It's a barn style metal roof. When I say no roof sheathing, so our diaphragm, our structural diaphragm isn't in place. So with a roof replacement, we need to put in plywood shear panels everywhere.
Could
And
you
it's,
split sheet?
I think it's, yeah, like probably that diagonal split sheathing up there. And then you will be adding, I don't know, 8 inches of insulation, depending on how we are, you're right, so there's a lot of things that go into the calculations of this roof needs to be replaced. Well, it's not just the roof, our structural engineer has looked at this one and it's kind of a big deal to them when there's nothing diaphragm tying the whole building together.
It's an odd roof too, isn't it?
It's
Isn't it different?
sheet metal and flat
Yeah.
and spots.
We call out for, it still has the original wood windows, single pane windows. ODE says those aren't adequate for schools and environments. I'm a preservationist. I keep trying to keep my personal opinions away, but there are ways to repair them. And as opposed to replace them. Not all schools are caveats for that. The other big thing, you know, most of this is systems, right? It has older systems. It got a remarkable refresh of finishes before it opened as an elementary school, but some of the systems are still lagging behind, so there's pretty significant repairs there. You look at an FCI at 76%, well, then you get into everybody recognizes this facility, right? It was your icon of your district logo at one time, which I still used a little bit of. Most people think of Crook County Schools, they might think of this building. So is this a candidate to tear down and replace? Probably not, right? So then what do we do when we have a 76% FCI? We're gonna look at preparing a pretty significant maintenance plan, right? We look at the annex building, we used to call the boiler room. Again, the roof needs to be replaced, it's got a lot of plywood panels on the outside. You don't know what the condition of the original siding is. Most doors have been boarded up or need to be replaced. And then what's the highest and best use of this place? The school uses it as storage, used to be used as a conference room. You can't have students in it because it's different levels. There's no ADA access, so is it worthwhile to keep this facility if, right, there's so many things connected, it's the boiler room for the whole property. Well, if we replace the mechanical systems in all the schools, we don't need this gigantic, this relatively small building as a boiler room that's serving these different buildings. So now that frees up all that space in this building. Is that worthwhile to repurpose it into a new use? Or is it better to tear it down and build something new, right? So those are the questions we'll be going through the long range facility plan. But right now, we're just looking at these numbers. And we move next door to the gym, which I do not believe we have the wrong date. It's not a 34. Can't even read that.
I don't know what date it is.
It was not 1934, because it's a Quonset hut. I think I have it somewhere else. Again, the main thing here is the roofing itself. It's a single ply roof. It's nearing the end of its life. Well, when built, this doesn't have proper sheathing in the roof underneath the roofing. So when you're gonna replace the roofing, you're gonna put new sheathing on, you're gonna bring it up to energy code for insulation values. That makes that number tick pretty high. You go inside the gym and it's functioning pretty well. Right? It's not in too bad of shape. The bathrooms have been updated. There's some plumbing fixtures that need to be replaced. There are aesthetic things that can be done in the entry area to make it a little bit nicer, but functioning as a elementary school gym seems to be okay. Unless,
Parks and Rec still using it too as a skating rink?
No.
Not skating.
Not skating.
Kids Club still uses it every day after school.
I don't.
Oh, and a church.
Yeah.
So community.
Oh, yeah.
so Steens Pillar South, AKA Grizzly Mountain Home Link. Very similar to Steens Pillar North. built a couple years later. A lot of the same concerns. You know, aesthetically, right? It's got new finishes on the inside. It's got a nice paint job on the outside. It does have screens on the outside windows, but again, we're looking at all the original windows, the original roof construction. What's a better way to say, a lower quality metal roof on it. We typically call them barn style roofs where they're not made to be on insulated roofs. They're exposed fasteners and stuff. And they just don't last as long as your modern day standing seam metal roof. Besides the water issues that have come up, you know, with the pop-ups, those are little parapets at both of those schools, not having proper water drainage around them. I saw a new part popped off of Steens Pillar North when I drove in. Off the right. Again, this one's almost at 80% FCI right now, looking at that, when it doesn't have, you know, there's almost $1.6 million in site work. Next to this one, when we're looking at utility service, you look at the gymnasium, right, and the entry, so that even includes the concrete aprons from the street into the driveways. There's lots of ponding and pooling and asphalt deteriorating, so these are all kind of site work, looking at them together, which we need to make sure. It's hard when they're on one campus to really decipher what line we're cutting to say this site work goes with this building, this site work goes with the other one. The school-based health clinic has a very inaccurate FCI number on the screen right now. So don't look at that one, but
You're gonna just look at that one again, or?
yeah, that one just didn't calculate
Oh, okay.
correctly yet. You know, it has a more recent roof leak that's been repaired, so we know the roof is close to its near end life. The entry stairs are totally deteriorated. Some of the awnings are not very safe looking, the way they're rigged up. And surprisingly, you know, the heating system is in good condition. It's like you get winds here and there. Powell Butte, the community charter school, you know, similar age to the Steens Pillars facilities. Again, if you look at this and include the number of portables out there, this does not meet your educational adequacy, right? This doesn't meet your learning environments because the majority of the students are in portables. We don't have that number calculated in this, again, because ODE doesn't have us assess the portables. But when we'll be adding that in here when we go through the next process. And looking at the time, I'm gonna keep going. Cafeteria building is fine, which is great. Look, 6.4, that one is accurate. Whew. Did we end on this note? The stadium. Okay. I just want you to see again, you do have this building that has a 6% FCI as opposed to 247%. It's in really bad condition.
Yeah.
Is that like a miscalculation?
No.
Or is that
No,
true?
this is looking at, there were some structural repairs done to keep its integrity going while it's being used. We knew those weren't all end aspects of it. There are different, you know, the whole back of the building has plywood siding that is needing to be replaced. If the locker rooms, portions of them have been updated, which is great. I think you got a grant to update them. The mechanical systems are at the end of their life, the electrical system, end of its life. The upstairs is almost unusable if you wanted to look at it in a very fine eye. So when you start looking into, you know, the wear of the floor and the finishes and the systems, those numbers just keep going up. Because almost everything on this one was replaced. It's hard for you.
What was interesting on this one that stuck out was the replacement budget, that 4.7 million is significantly less than the repair.
Right,
Yeah.
that's why that FCI number is so big, right? Because most of them, when you're looking at replacement, it's close to that, right? And you're like, oh, I'm juggling back and forth. When your replacement number is so much less than your repair number, then it's kind of that's very obvious what needs to happen with this. In the meantime, we know that. Right, we may not have money to replace this, so then we look again at what are the priorities to make this safe and secure and comfortable for the users. And if the majority of the users are sitting in the grandstands, this facility is great. When the users are trying to work out upstairs, I think we did a great job last time of suggesting that the weight room is not upstairs anymore. Yes.
That was
So-
part of the whole structural
Yeah,
stuff that we did, is we took it out of there.
so there are ways to repurpose and reuse without replacing. So, you know, but when we're looking one-to-one for the existing use, then we're calculating a one-to-one replacement of that. As opposed to looking at repurposing.
Leland, I'm just gonna ask a quick question. You can either yay or nay it, right? So looking at this, if we ended up doing a total replacement, would this stadium stay exactly where it's at, or would it be torn down? And if you can't answer it, don't answer it.
You mean, would we tear that building down and build a new one?
Mhm.
You wouldn't have anywhere else to really build it.
Well, I didn't know because of the history of it.
Oh, you mean as far as tearing the building down?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be touchy. I
It's
don't know how I
just
feel about
touchy.
that, but
Okay, I just didn't know if we had a plan that if we ever were able to build a new stadium. Would it just be an adjacent to it, or would we? Just because I know the history with this, so anyhow. Okay,
That's something that the Long Range Facilities Planning Committee would discuss,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that came up in the last big one
Mhm.
that we did, and there was just discussion about pros and cons and
right,
whether it would be supported in the community to do one thing or another, and so it's not like Leland just gets to make that decision.
right, no, I didn't know if he had,
I have a opinion,
Discussions.
but that doesn't mean anything.
right,
I'm gonna move us through since it's already a little after 5. The warehouse, the transportation facility, I think we talked about, big picture. You know, the site work number is gonna go up really high because those are all gravel sites. We're looking at, you know, buses parking in gravel and having adequate site lighting out there, let alone the facility itself. There are details on the nutritional warehouse. Overall, it's functioning pretty well. They're running out of space, right? Space capacity was a big question there. And maintenance facility, is at the end of its useful life, in all aspects. So we have a lot more to go over. I went way too slow, but that was the bulk of our meeting today, is to go over this, explain what these spreadsheets are. I know they're not fun to look at, but you guys are the experts of your facilities. We spent 2 days looking at them. That does not make us experts, right? So we are asking for your help to look through this and red flag things, you know, asking those hard questions, making sure we're not gonna present information to the public that, like Joel is saying, that's gonna throw a huge red flag, right? Okay, we're not gonna do that, right? So let's make sure we're getting those questions answered and addressed before our first meeting with the bigger group, our stakeholder group. You wanna talk about the fun The
Oh, the fun
the
stuff.
people stuff, as opposed to the buildings?
So, yeah. We're in the information gathering stage, of course, and so looking at the facilities and doing the assessment is Heidi has so well done is a cool part, but also we want to look at, you know, your population. Is it growing? Is that going to place extra stress on these facilities over a period of time? So we're trying to sort of project 5-10 years out. So one way to sort of get our heads around this is to look at population estimates and sort of the a useful source is Portland State University. Every year they come up with updates for every county in the state. Looking at Crook County right now, sort of going back to say 2020 up to around about 2024, the trend line seems to be positive. Around about 2,000 extra people are now living in the state relative to what it was in 2020. So that's on that slide there. They have another way of looking at it as well. They break it down. They have many, many different tables. So I've just given you, just brevity's sake, just give you a sort of a snapshot. And this next one here, if you look over under births, you'll see that there are fewer births than there are deaths. However, that is offset by net migration. So that's telling you a story that there are more people moving into Cook County. And based on some of the anecdotal stuff that you're seeing, for example, how's, you know, when we could look at the, you know, the new housing permits and so on, that projecting out, it seems to be that this will continue as a trend over the next few years. So this can be part of the discussion you have with the stakeholders. And that sort of sets you apart, I think, compared to some other counties out there. The interesting thing about your school district is you're one of the few school districts that is actually growing. I think Monroe County is also growing as well.
So we had reached out, Anna had sent me a list
Oh,
about
yes.
different school districts that you guys compare yourselves to. And I just said, that's a very broad question to help me out with that. So when we're pulling data like this, we like to know, you know, is Morrow County, Jefferson County, Pendleton, right? There's a lot of school districts that are of the same size as Crook County in the state. But what districts resonate with you as far as, yeah, we kind of feel like they're our sister community. We do a lot of things similarly. We have maybe a similar demographic. Maybe we just like look at what they do because we like those people there. Or we, you know, team up with them when we're looking at how do we talk about a bond because we're a similar size community, or we reach out to them for X, Y, and Z reasons. Are there any districts that kind of that you feel that assimilation with in the state more than others?
You said you pulled a list or,
I pulled a list of districts with similar ADM,
yeah,
ADMW. So I could read that list and then maybe as you listen to it, you could maybe write down the ones that you think. Maybe that.
yeah,
Okay, Coos Bay. Now, these are school districts, those are counties.
yeah.
So that would be two different things.
Right, yes.
Okay,
Not necessarily on
Yes.
this slide, but
okay.
Yep.
So Coos Bay, Central School District, North Wasco County, South Lane, Phoenix Talent, Malala River, Estacada, St. Helens, Ashland, Jefferson County, Klamath Falls City Schools, Santiam Canyon, Ontario's, Cascade, Park Rose, Dallas, and Pendleton.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it just, you know, Crook County is a unique place where, you know, we are kind of a rural blue collar community. I think of the list, Pendleton, you know, kind of fits that. We're a little more connected as in like Central Oregon is with Bend in close proximity. And then I also think of Jefferson County School District 509J is just as they're a little bit smaller with us, but they're in Central Oregon. Their demographics are a little different though, as they have a tribal population. And then I also always think of Redmond School District, just because the proximity, even though they're definitely bigger than us, I think kind of demographics were relatively similar and just partner with them a lot as well.
Okay.
Does that
That
seem
helps.
right? Anna?
Yep. You wanna come back up later?
Jen, Kevin, any other, does that seem
No,
about?
Pendleton is what stuck out to
That's what
me.
I'm stuck
What about
to.
Dallas?
Yeah, they're kind of that,
They're kind of like outside the big city.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a good
Did
comparison.
you say SDK that was on there too?
Mhm.
Okay, that's what I'm using that. Just traveling football games, that's what I think of, is like Malala was in there, SDK was in there, Pendleton. Maybe even Ontario. Actually, I'm not that with me, but that one seemed.
Ontario is a very, it seems like they're much more industrialized since they're so close to the interstate. Oh, yeah. To Idaho. But they're about the same size as us, but I think their personality is probably very different.
Oh, yeah.
What about, Lagrange?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
They're quite a bit smaller than us, aren't they?
So, yeah, we actually have partnered with LeGrand.
Yeah.
George Mendoza is their superintendent, great guy.
Yeah.
They have that college, they have a
Yeah, it's a,
long-standing college there,
Right.
so there's kind of a different.
We have a lot of kids that go. to
there's
these.
also Baker School District often comes up in
Mhm.
conversation. Is, a little more rural.
Right. Then the other piece in this jigsaw puzzle is when we talk about measuring educational adequacy, really to speak to your point, Joel, it's about getting feedback from from users, from the staff who are there. Starting, I think, with what we would propose is really talking to departmental leadership. Then really also reaching out to all the staff, every staff member. And one way to do that is, and we've done this before ourselves, is just conduct a survey, and we can help provide that, and then work with you to distribute that. It can be as complicated or as simple as possible. We usually favour something that's pretty straightforward. There are ways to do it. Well, one is give some ranking opportunities. 1 to 5. What do you think about your facility? And then the other part is also to give folks an opportunity to just type in, some thoughts or suggestions. And it would be anonymous, but we would ask that the folks who do participate in the survey, they identify which school, they're linked to,
Definitely.
so they can really speak to that school. We know what it's about. And then the interviews with departmental leadership, I think if we can move on to, yes, these are just some of the departments, and not all of the departments, associated with your district, but this was just for starting today for discussion purposes. Curriculum and instruction, of course, facilities, with Leland, we'd have an interview with them, of course, nutrition services, special ed, technology and transportation. If you think there's others that we could add to that's just fine.
I think you covered most of them.
Yeah, just in the interest of meeting your schedule, we would propose doing it virtually, more or less one-on-one. Sure. And our hope would be that we could do all of this over this month of November, so that when we get together next time in December, we have all that information. And we're about to sort of, it may be still a bit raw, but we would share it with the 14 first before it becomes, really public.
Awesome, that's great.
Oh yes, I'm sorry, just to give you a sense of what we would ask in the digital surveys, we'll be focusing on things like, what are your successes, asking each staff member, tell us what really works for you. It's good to know those things as well. And then talking about the challenges, which really could be the negative things if you like, but what's not working, how is it affecting your role as either a administrator or a teacher, or even a custodian.
Yeah.
Everybody has the opportunity to say something. And then also asking about opportunities. You've gone through this sort of bond planning process before, or master plan process. So for a number of folks, this is not the first time.
Yeah.
what is it that maybe we left out last time that we could bring to the table? So that would be part of the discussion.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you could ask something around, because I think our staff would be one of the biggest drivers in communicating to the community about the need.
Yes,
So maybe having the staff identify their top 3 projects.
Yes.
Because something we've seen is like, there's so many things that we need to do, and we know that we're gonna have to prioritize
Yeah.
and put together a package that the community will support. And so I think talking to our staff of what do they see as the top projects that they would support, as that might be some interesting data that would help guide some decisions as we look to prioritize things.
that'd be great. And if you could just think about this a bit more, if you want to come back to us and, yeah, we could add top 3 projects as part of that survey. If there's anything else you'd like us to zero in on or phrase in a certain way, just let us know.
And there are aspects that ODE has us ask, how's your learning environment? How are your spaces? How do you feel? We touched on a couple, do you have a sense of pride working there?
Yeah.
Those soft topics that we like to get it input on.
The other thing that's interesting too is capacity, number of schools have modulars that immediately tells you that you've got a capacity problem. It's also maybe worth looking at what the, ODE has. They actually have they measure every school in the state. And so just by way of example, here's Crooked River Elementary School. And they're showing, for example, for grade 4, that the median class size is around 25. And that's just based on the stats they pull from you, really, and they just plug it into the spreadsheet. They know how many students there are, around 539. That was for 23-24. It probably changed a little bit now, but it's a snapshot in time, and it's kind of useful to have to look at that when we're having discussions about modulars. And I don't think anyone's saying that this is super exact, but it does tell you a story. And as we're putting this jigsaw puzzle together, looking at what you have on ground, the modulars, we can really start to explain it a bit more in detail to anybody who comes and asks. Now, the interesting question is, I mentioned 25 for grade 4. That is for most districts is probably a good number. If it's lower than that, it's even better. If it gets higher than 25, it can be a problem. How do you measure that? Well, often it's measured by just the square footage per student in the classroom. So up there on the right there, the metric usually is we assign 35 square feet in a classroom per student. So if I were to go through, all the plans that Leland's kindly provided, and we could start to measure every classroom, we might be able to sort of really dial down and say some of these classrooms are a little bit too small, that they need, we need to have bigger classrooms. I think it really we don't have to really get into those kinds of weeds, because most of, I think you really already know. But I want to let you. I also want to make it clear though that there are many different ways to measure capacity, and often it really boils down to what the school district determines that the accurate criteria are, and that's really my big point.
Yeah.
Is we can get really hung up about all these different numbers, but I don't think it's necessary at this high level at this point.
Yeah, totally. We target 25 for
Yeah.
grades 3 through 5, and then 22 for grade 1, 2. So and we're about there in
Yeah.
most places. So I wouldn't think that would be a tough thing we need to spend a ton of time.
No. And so
If we want to go out for a bond where we're wanting to build a new elementary school,
Mhm.
or if we say we need a full new wing or something,
yes,
I think that's when we're probably gonna be drilling down into these numbers to show
yes,
that we don't have space for the students we have.
right.
Is that kind of what you guys would expect?
Yes, so this is where it becomes useful. If you're going to be talking about a replacement school, for example, and you're looking at the existing version, where it's kind of cramped, and you've got more than 25, or really the space isn't working out. There's the other part too. It's not just about numbers, it's about how the classrooms relate to other classrooms. where they are in position to say the library or the gym and everything else. It's just not really working from a functional standpoint. It's not just about capacity, but functionality. That's when you make that case, and we can weave that into that narrative.
I would assume too that if you're going off a bond, then you're also saying. We anticipate this percentage of growth, and
Yes,
so our capacity now, and our capacity in 5 years, 10 years is gonna look different. And so you're wanting to. In some ways, you might be using the bond to account for future capacity and
Correct.
repair existing.
Yep.
I think the last thing you'd wanna do is. After a bond, add a modular,
oh yeah,
right? Like, that would probably,
it's good.
that would be bad.
Yes.
Why are you adding modular after we just built a new school?
Yes, and I've worked with one school district where they put in a new elementary school. We designed it, and then just out of the blue, they said, "Oh, put in some underground utility lines, so because we think we're gonna have to put some modulars in there later." You know, it's like, oh no. And so we have actually underground conduit to support modulars if they ever go in. The good news is actually it all worked out in the end, but yeah, that wouldn't be a good story if you're putting in modulars later on. Yeah, so it's a little complex, but I feel usually the school districts know every school district knows what your capacity is and your future capacity needs. So it's these resources are available to you if you want to plan for a new facility.
So then our next step is just to prepare for our first meeting, our phase 1 meeting that we talked about with our stakeholder group. We talked about not sharing too much information and making sure we share accurate information. So we have a lot of more data to compile, as well as far as educational adequacy, setting up the survey, doing the interviews. As well as getting our spreadsheet fixed from ODE. And then there's different ways for us to present it. You know, obviously there's the way we presented tonight. Hey, you get to see everything or you don't want to see everything, right? We know that seeing everything is overwhelming. For example, at Ben Lapine Schools, we categorize, you probably can't read that, into different buckets of work, and then we prioritize projects out of that. So when they go out for their bonds, every school gets something. These are their 5 bond not measures, but their aspects and, you know, their goals. That's the word I'm looking for. That every school is gonna get safety and security upgrade. Every school is gonna get an operational instructional delivery method update. Equity and parity, again, is looking at, you know, how do we bring Paulina up to the same scale as Barnesville? It's not gonna happen, but what can we do to make our best effort in that sense? Asset preservation is anything from repairing asphalt, doing a slurry coat over asphalt, so you're not ripping it out and replacing it, to preserving Steen's Pillar, right? Like, there's a big range of asset preservation. Another one of their main goals was energy and labor conservation. So not just energy savings, changing out all light fixtures to LED, but labor conservation. How do we make these facilities more efficient for staff to work in? Right? Our transportation people are driving 15 minutes outside of town. That's an exaggeration. I guess depends on traffic. Right? But is it efficient for the school bus drivers to go out there, get in a bus and drive around? Or is there something that's gonna make their job a lot more efficient? At the same time, I bring those up because there's gonna be things like that that are off the table, right? You don't want me to suggest, well, we need to move our transportation facility closer into town, if that is something that's never gonna happen. So I want you to think about those kind of, you know, does it make sense to pool this kind of information into buckets of criteria that you know will resonate well with the district. Is it okay for us to, the district and community, is it okay for us to merely go through structural, building envelope, the systems, the interior spaces? Is that okay as far as people being able to comprehend how much needs to happen at each facility? And then, right, if building a new middle school is so far off the radar that we don't even want to bring that up, let us know, right? I don't want to shove my foot in my mouth, or let alone shove Robert's foot in my mouth. That'd be even worse, right? So we want to think about and get those ideas flowing, so that we don't have Anna kick me into the table for saying the wrong word at the wrong time or something like that. So if there's things like that that you know, please share them with us. So we
Now, like now?
anytime,
I
yeah.
have tons of ideas, so, so one of the things, like, whenever we go into a classroom and we're, you know, giving feedback to a teacher, we always look for, one of the key things is engagement, right? Are
Mhm.
students actively engaged?
Mhm.
Opposed to, you know, it's called sit and get, where a teacher just gets up there and lectures to kids, and after 5 minutes, you see
They're gone.
they're, so I really want to make sure, especially as we think of this first meeting, we have, you know, most likely we'll have engaged community that is excited and wants to share their ideas and
Yeah.
talk about these things. So I really want to avoid anything, and I saw this last time we did this, where it was two
You know,
2-hour sessions of sit and get with
Mhm.
zero, not zero, but very, very little. So I'd like to see a first session where we truly are discovering, we're asking people, what are your, you know, community members, what do you see as the biggest need? What are your ideas? And almost, you know, whether it's chart papers or groups, but we're really starting with asking them.
Okay, yeah.
And then that will emerge of what our biggest needs are. And then we can come back, you know, with the information. But I really think it'd be wise to strike while the iron's hot of people that want to share their ideas, before we say, no, we're not doing that or whatever. I think it would be really valuable just to take a time and get input from staff.
Love it.
family,
Oh, yeah.
community.
One thing we've done is, you know, we have charts, and we get folks to, you know, use little dots,
Yeah.
you know, indicate their preferences after we've had a discussion with them,
Yeah.
after they've told us, given us their feedback, so they can, everybody can see, oh, they're,
Yeah.
you know, we're going in this direction, that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think like starting with the outcome of, hey, we're here to decide facilities for the next 5
Yeah.
10 years. What are your thoughts, and do small group brainstorming, because then people are engaged and
Okay.
sharing their ideas and not just doing this, the sit and get like I've
Yeah.
seen before.
And I think, like you said, for the next 5 to 10 years, this isn't, we gotta stop band-aiding things.
Yeah.
Like we've done it since I was little, right?
Yeah.
It's always a band-aid fix, so I think we really need everybody to be thinking long-term, like, and I think it would be good for some, whether it be city or county, come in and say, hey, we've got these new apartments going in on this side and this side.
Yeah.
And we have new businesses that are gonna be coming in. We really need to think
Yeah.
long-term. We really need to think about that.
Yeah, I like that, because we do need to, get people, but also need to set the stage of, hey, here's all our facilities, here's the constraints. Okay, what do you think is what gets you excited? What do you think your neighbor would vote for? What would you vote for?
Right.
And yeah, giving the context too is really important.
And I don't think it's about the shiny new objects. I think we really need to, you know, hammer that away, like, this is a structural issue, like, this is not a new waterfall feature. We don't need that right now. Especially an involuntary one, right? So, and I know we tried to put that video out so that people could actually see what was happening. But I think that just hitting the nail on the head about, you hear so many people say, oh, you guys are fine, just put a new roof on it, you know, just put up a couple new whatever, or, you know, the classroom, just paint it, or fix the holes or the whatever. Well, when your heat isn't working and, you know, you have major, you know, you're starting to get into structural damage, I think people need to realize, maybe if they don't have kids in school anymore, hey, we need to think long-term right now. Right now is the time to think that 5, 10 years, or however long you guys wanna, you know, put out there. And get people like, hey, we do have these new complexes coming in. There are going to be families moving in, regardless of how you feel about that. They're coming, right? People are gonna be coming here. We have different businesses coming about. Cause the city and county know more than we do. And so, I think we just need to. I don't wanna see a replacement happen and within 2 to 3 years, we're out of it, or we're putting modulars in, right?
I
I
agree.
think we really need to make sure that people are aware. And maybe everybody is aware, and I'm just under a rock somewhere, but
I don't think you're right.
Good stuff.
No, I think that's important to be straightforward, right? And this is why we're doing it. We're not here, like you said, to ask you to build a new facility because we think it'd be cool.
Mm.
You know, and we do have to we do have a segment of population where, you know, the attitude is, well, I went to school there, it's fine for me.
Yeah, for sure.
And we, okay, it was back then
right,
in the.
when it was 20 years old.
50s, right, but, you know, here's what we're looking at structurally, we've got some major issues.
Mhm.
And then go from there, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
I think we have to be real straight about. There are some structural issues that in some cases aren't safe at all. And, that's why we're coming together, how are we gonna fix it?
It's time,
Yeah.
it's time.
Well, we are a couple minutes over our time. If you have more ideas, I don't need to go anywhere, so I can stay and listen. You're driving back to Portland?
No, I'm staying
Okay,
over.
okay, oh, well, I'm glad you're not.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I'd
So
rather stay.
if you wanna stay and chat, I am here. If you need to go, I totally understand. You can get feedback, send it to Leland and he'll get it to me. You wanna be my point person, right?
Sure.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great feedback.
Lot of work, we appreciate it.
All right, does anybody have anything else? All right, so this meeting is adjourned.
I need to get your